Yo, I'm finally back. I know I'm taking a while to get these vids out, and I do apologize for that. I want to be able to do this quicker, but that doesn't seem possible right now. Regardless, I will keep working on posting vids as often as I can, showcasing my creative projects. But you didn't show up today for all that. You showed up for our evolutions, so remember to like if you like it, and subscribe to see future vids, whenever I'm able to post them. And let's get to it. As a refresher, I'll introduce the starters from last time and go over certain changes I made to them. If you want to learn more about their inspirations and designs though, I recommend checking out the previous video. And if you're completely new, then please check out the first video in the playlist below to learn more about this project. But without further ado, let's say hi to our grass starter, Pilloink, the foolish piglet Pokemon. This fun-loving Pokemon spends its days collecting berries for its group, often dancing after getting a big haul and losing some of it as a result. Despite its clumsy nature, it has a knack for creative problem solving. As you can see, I didn't change much about this one, mostly just simplified the design by getting rid of unnecessary details. But if you direct your attention to the bottom right, you'll see I've added shinies, which you'll see with the others as well. Speaking of which, let's say hello once again to Spudet, the nervous pup Pokemon. This nervous little Pokemon wants to prove itself to its pack. It is often found standing at attention listening for danger up to a mile away. When they hear a threat, they fire a bright burst of light into the sky from their tail. And once again, not much changed here, with the most notable alterations being how the color pattern on its body looks more like a coat now, which I did to better tie it visually to its evolutions, who you'll meet soon. But first, we need to say one last hello to the water starter. Meet Navout, the devout signet Pokemon. This quiet young duck is singularly focused on the patterns of light that shine in front of it, determining its actions based on the meaning as gleaned from them. Curiously though, it doesn't seem to acknowledge the ball of water on its head. So one of the more prominent critiques I got in my last video was how the water starter's original name was too similar to the fire starter's name, and after some significant effort, I decided its name will be Navout, from neophyte and devout. This name captures what I see as this stage's role in the story of its evolutionary line, as it is new and dedicated to its beliefs, but not really questioning where those beliefs came from. I also updated its dex entry to better reflect it, and its art to make it more cute. Let me know in the comments if you like or didn't like the changes I made to the starter you originally chose. And with that out of the way, let's get to the evolutions. As per usual, let us begin with the grass line. With these designs, I wanted to convey entirely opposite personalities from the first to the last. With the first being outgoing and clumsy, I wanted the middle to be reserved and careful. To meet this, I gave it a very compact and slouched pose, as if it were trying to retreat into a non-existent shell. This choice also made it look as though it was carrying a heavy load on its back, which is fitting as each stage represents a different role in a community of survivors, with the middle being the builder. The final evolution, on the other hand, I wanted to be domineering and overbearing, which led to its wider stance and forward-leaning pose, which is meant to convey the elder brother of the folktale and how some of the intentional community leaders of post-apocalyptic media can be portrayed, caring more about their position of power rather than the group. Because of that, I wanted this one to feel defensive and always ready to fight those that would challenge its position. One last design note is the inclusion of musical instruments, as folk music was an additional inspiration for this line, but took more of a back seat throughout the process. You can still see its influence, though, in the patterns on Pilloink's stomach, and the cheek pouches that develop into small bagpipes on the final evolution. That said, let's check out their dex entries. Meet the middle starter. Once a fun-loving and clumsy Pokemon, it has become self-conscious of its past mistakes, and now tries to complete any task it's given, regardless of the nature of it, in order to prove its worth. So, yeah, the middle evolution is an anxiety-ridden people-pleaser. And overall, I feel it works as a middle evolution, especially when put side by side with the others in its line. Speaking of others, let's check out the entry for the final evolution of our grass starter, who is now a powerful spirit seeking the position of authority it felt it deserved in life. It will form a community of its pre-evolutions and coordinate through music, but some think it steals the souls of those that undermine it and feeds them to local flora. As you could guess, not a Pokemon you want to be on the wrong side of. And despite the dark story, I feel like I found a happy medium among the inspirations. But feel free to tell me what you think. In the meantime, let's move on to the fire line. For this Middle Evo, I wanted it to go from a nervous pup to an indignant teen, tired of being scared, and confronts threats head-on. And because each stage is meant to be a part of a pseudo-military hierarchy, I had its hair resemble a beret. I also upgraded its coat to look more like a military uniform, along with adding more metal plates to further tie in the Iron Wolf folktale, And for the final evolution, I did essentially the same, but took it further, with a more commanding pose, as it is now a tyrannical general of its pack, complete with one of those hats you often see generals and military commanders wear in media, along with a much thicker coat, especially around the neck, to resemble a fur-collared jacket, and of course more metal armor, which is actually their fur fused together and solidified into metal-like plates. With that fun fact, let's move on to their dex entries, starting with the middle evolution. Once a nervous pup, it has grown annoyed, and no longer just listens for threats, but actively confronts them using their tail to propel them forward at high speeds, and listens closely to locate their targets up to 5 miles away. Which, apart from confirming what I said earlier, also tells us that its sense of hearing has grown as well. This part of the entry is referring to the 3 dogs the protagonist collects from the Iron Wolf folktale. But we're not done with this line yet. Let's take a look at the final evolution, who has calmed down and grown wise. They are now a ruthless Pokemon that commands its pre-evolutions to defend its territory for as far as it can hear with an iron paw. Though it's grown slow, it makes up for it in defense and power. And though it's not said directly, its sense of hearing is the most powerful. All in all, I'm very happy with how this line came out, and I hope y'all like it just as much. But we still have one more line to tackle. The water type line was probably the trickiest for me, as I ultimately pulled from its post-apocalyptic religious fanatic inspiration far more than I did the folktale inspiration. That said, I think the line itself is pretty strong in terms of design and story, with the middle stage going from a devotee to doubting its beliefs. This is represented in the designs through the Middle Evo not only looking at its orb, but also trying to manipulate it, which is why the water looks so wobbly. While the Final Evo, in contrast, has fully realized its power and ascended both literally as it now levitates off the ground, and figuratively. Now let's see what their dex entries can tell us. Starting once again with the Middle Evolution, this Pokemon was once devoted to patterns of light, but has come to doubt them with the discovery of the orb of water on its head. It now attempts to manipulate it with latent psychic power, seeking to understand it in the absence of its faith. This not only confirms my earlier statements, but also teases its secondary typing, which we'll go into the reasoning behind after we look at the final evolution, who after mastering its psychic power, now seeks to spread its new beliefs to its pre-evolutions by manipulating the water on their head, and guide them towards what it sees as the truth. But they are also known to exile disruptive members of their flock. Now back to that psychic typing as it fully comes into its power in its final form, that power being hydrokinesis. You see, although they behave like a religious order and even the final form sees itself as a spiritual leader, what they are actually doing is manipulating light as it shines through water to create illusions and induce hallucinations that validate and reinforce their beliefs. And despite the drastic changes this line has gone through, I've grown to adore what it has become. Now, I'm sure you noticed, but none of the middle or final evolutions currently have names. And the reason for that is I suck at naming things. The process of naming them is actually the main reason why this video has taken so long. But then I realized we've begun to build a small community here, so why not let y'all be more involved in the development of this region by helping me name the Fakemon I can't name myself. So if you have any name ideas for the middle and final evolutions, then please leave a comment down below and be sure to check out other people's ideas. And if you do suggest a name, be sure to start the comment with name idea or something similar, and specify what line and stage the name is for. Once names have been chosen, I'll update you all about it in my next video, and credit whose idea the names were. And if you have hidden ability ideas, feel free to leave them below too. Well, that's all I have regarding this project right now, so if you're only here for the Fakemon content, then I hope you enjoy. And remember to like and subscribe, so I know you enjoyed it, and can be notified when I upload next. But if you want to stay updated on the direction of this channel, then keep watching. Still here? Alright, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to put this project on the back burner for a little bit. But make no mistake, I will continue it. I'm not just going to give you starters and disappear. There is a lot about this region I want to share with you all, but right now I need to focus on trying to get my career as a sequential illustrator going. That also doesn't mean I won't be posting though. This was never meant to just be a Fakemon channel, and to that end, my next few videos will follow me working on a short comic called Fragile. So if you're interested in seeing how I tackle a comic from start to finish, then I hope to see you there. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again when I post the next Fakemon video. That's all, so have a great day and see you soon.